Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Zara Martirosyan. I'm a holistic therapist. I practice hypnotherapy, regression therapy, energy coaching, and of course, numerical psychology. And today I want to talk to you about the love story between JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette Kennedy. And I will be doing it through numerical psychology, through their dates of birth, through the software they both were born with. Before we continue, I have a couple of disclaimers. Firstly, if you haven't watched the TV show yet, the love story that aired, I believe, a little bit more than a month ago and ended just last week, then maybe circle back to this video a little bit later because I will be spilling the beans and there will be a couple of spoilers in this video. And secondly, if you believe in fairy tales and if you think that the depiction of the love story is truthful in the TV show, again, you may feel a little bit disappointed because I will be sharing a couple of facts that I picked up outside of the TV show. So maybe, again, circle back to this video later on. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Of course, share your feedback and comments below, like the video, and share it with anyone who may also find it entertaining. Hopefully, that will be the case. So let's dive in. Numerical psychology. I will not be going deep into the theory. I just want to explain you a couple of things so you understand the terms that I will be using while unpacking both JFK's Jr.'s and Carolyn's software, why they were behaving in a certain way, and illustrating their behavior through different scenes picked up in the TV show. As per numerical psychology, we believe that whenever a person is born on a specific day, it's never a coincidence, even if there were certain circumstances such as a C-section or maybe a premature delivery. Whatever it may have been, a soul is born on that day because that soul chose a specific program to incarnate with. I like to call it a software. And of course, if there is a software involved, the one that we enter this life with, it means that our job, everyone's task, is essentially to upgrade that software throughout our life. But today I will not be talking about that, about how they should have upgraded their software, because I'm not here to judge. I just want to use their case, their story, to show you how their numbers, specifically both of them had consciousness number 7, and their mission numbers, 7 for John and 3 for Carolyn, manifested themselves. So you better understand these numbers. There are a couple of parameters that we analyze based on our date of birth. Number 1 is consciousness number, and that's the day we are born on. So irrespective of the month, if you are born on the 31st of any month, your consciousness number is 4. Why? Because we always reduce all the numbers to singular values. So 3 plus 1 equals 4, hence consciousness number 4. I was born on the 18th, hence my consciousness number is 9, 1 plus 8. If you were born on the 29th day of any month, then your consciousness number is 2. Why? Because 2 plus 9 equals 11. In 11, we also take 1 plus 1. Equals 2, and so on and so forth. And just by knowing someone's day of birth only, not even their entire date of birth, but just the day, you can already tell a lot about that person, the way they perceive the world, what kind of a language they speak, their positive and negative traits, what they want, what their ego wants, because our consciousness number is what our ego wants, is what we want throughout the life, very often not even realizing it because that want is happening behind the scene in our subconscious mind. In John and Carolyn's cases, because John was born on the 25th, 2 plus 5 equals 7, so his consciousness number was 7, and Carolyn was born on the 7th of January, so 7 is her pure consciousness number. The second parameter that we usually analyze based on your date of birth is the mission number. Now, if consciousness number is what we want, mission number is how we start acting to get what we want. So consciousness number is the noun, whereas the mission number is the verb. Mission number gets fully activated by the age of 33. So in their case, in John Jr.'s case and Carolyn's case, their missions hadn't been fully activated at the time of their first encounter. However, the mission number would still show up throughout the life even before someone turns 33. And I will be showing you exactly how it manifested for them, because in JFK Jr.'s case, he not only had the consciousness number 7, but his mission was also 7. So he was double trouble 7-7. And Carolyn's mission was 3. So the way we calculate the mission, we take all the numbers in your full date of birth, and again, we reduce the sum of those numbers to a singular value. So for instance, in John's case, because he was born on the 25th of November, 1960, we would take 2 plus 5 plus 1 plus 1, 11th November, plus 1 plus 9 plus 6. And we would reduce this sum to a singular number, and that's how we would get number 7. In Carolyn's case, she was born on January the 7th, 1966. So 7 plus 1 plus 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 6. Again, we take the sum and we reduce it to a singular number, and we will get number 3 as her mission number. As you may have guessed, based on the title itself, the mission number has all the information about your life purpose. So if you want to understand what your life purpose is, or maybe what your kid's purpose is, you can either check out my website, because there is a lot of information, free information, or you can book a private session with me, or I encourage you also to explore more numerical psychology through my workshop. Other parameters that we analyze to understand what kind of a software we were born with, including the matrix, which is all the numbers in our full date of birth and their combination, the personal year. Of course, the upbringing plays a massive role, because we are usually brought up by other humans, and those humans also have their understanding, their perception of the world. So it's like two Microsoft are trying to bring up an Apple, an iOS person, or a Linux person. That's why we often do not see eye to eye, because our software essentially clash. Okay, so that's the theory. I hope now you understand more or less what it is. And today I will be talking about their consciousness and mission numbers and unpacking it for you. Okay, so what is consciousness number 7, broadly speaking, because both of them were born with that consciousness. And funnily enough, consciousness number 7 will be popping up in a few other occasions throughout this video. I will be talking about it later, but just remember that remark for now. So consciousness number 7, the governing planet is Ketu. I will not be going into the planet in details. Again, that's really relevant for the purpose of our video today. But if you want to learn more, you can Google and understand. But essentially, Ketu is not really a planet. It's one of the lunar nodes. People with consciousness number 7 are born in the first chakra. 97% of their energy is located in the body, and only 3% reaches the head. And that's precisely why very often they live quite chaotic lives. They bring a lot of chaos for themselves and for people around them. But also, because they have 97% of their energy located in the first chakra, and the first chakra is located at the base of our spine. If you're familiar with Kundalini energy, that's where the Kundalini snake resides. By the way, if you want to understand more about Kundalini energy, how to awaken your Kundalini energy, check out my Kundalini workshop available here on YouTube. I'll drop the link in the description to this video as well. So because 97% of the energy is located in the first chakra, this is exactly where their legendary charisma comes from, because people with consciousness number 7, they are usually the most sexual, they are the most magnetic people, charismatic people, they are natural born yogis. But again, because only 3% of their energy reaches their head, there is perpetual chaos in the mind, and there is no golden middle for them. They either transform upward and become like these true geniuses if they are in a positive mindset, or they go all the way down. For them, for people born with consciousness number 7, which means people born on the 7th, 16th, 1 plus 6, right, and 25th day of any month, recognition is not just a vanity desire. The recognition is their oxygen. Why? Because we believe that people with consciousness number 7 are like aliens that found themselves back in the day on this earth. And because they don't really understand what the rules of the game is, how they are supposed to behave here, they need this constant recognition, appraisal, acknowledgement to validate that their actions are correct, that they are doing whatever they are expected to be doing as per the rules of the planet, so to speak. That is also why so many of them feel have the lack of belonging. They feel as if they are the black sheep of the family, for example, or they feel lost. They're not sure what to do with their lives. Maybe it's about their career, maybe about their relationships. So a lot of chaos may be happening in their lives. And again, that is because only 3% of the energy gets to the head, especially if they don't raise their Kundalini energy, if they are not disciplined, because discipline is everything for them. The more disciplined they are, people with consciousness number 7 and people with mission number 7, the more successful they will be. So if there is no appraisal, if there is no recognition, they move into aggression, distraction, and crisis. And they may even get depressed. And by the way, people with consciousness number 7 are the most likely to commit a suicide. And of course, we know how their lives tragically ended. And allegedly, JFK Jr., because his life was in such a mess and chaos, his relationship was on the brink of falling apart. His magazine, George, was about to be shut down. So he didn't feel he was successful in his career. He didn't feel he was successful in his marriage. It was quite chaotic all over the place. So allegedly, he may have committed suicide, taking both Carolyn and her sister, his sister-in-law, along with him. Because for many people with consciousness number 7, again, because there is only 3% of their energy going to the head, if they don't work at it, there will be a lot of chaos. And because they find themselves in the chaos, for them, exit strategy, this kind of an unfortunate, tragic exit strategy is one of the solutions they tend to pick. Many of them. There have been many celebrities, many extremely talented people born with consciousness number 7 that took this exact path. For people with consciousness number 7, they sharply divide the world into spiritual and non-spiritual. They constantly search for meaning of their existence, and we say that they are like a phoenix bird. They burn themselves down only to rebuild themselves back from ashes over and over again. But sometimes, again, they don't bring themselves back. And we can see how that happened, for example, with Carolyn when she quit her very successful job at Calvin Klein to start her new life, and she got lost. She didn't know what to do because she felt she was bringing so much chaos and destruction to any potential employer because of her fame, because all the paparazzi following her, that she eventually started going inward, feeling depressed and feeling completely lost. Now, another thing, an important detail about people with consciousness number 7, when they are in a positive mindset, they could be truly geniuses. They are fantastic at crisis management. And that's, by the way, we see throughout the TV show how Caroline showed her utter brilliance when it comes to work, how she helped picked up Kate Moss. By the way, there will be a fun fact about Kate Moss, so keep watching. how she managed to bring Michael Bergen and made him a star. So this star quality, because we say that people with consciousness number 7, they are born stars and they are super egoistic, they are super selfish. They are even more selfish than people born with consciousness number 1, true kings and queens, because they need this constant recognition and praise. Another interesting fact about consciousness number 7, they are quite sassy. They can be quite witty. They are quick at implementing any ideas, especially if they are in a positive mindset. That's where their genius truly shines. They can be extremely forgetful. Very often they leave in the morning and forget what they were supposed to do throughout the day, or they are not sure where they will end up finding themselves in the evening. And we see how that manifests, especially in John's case. In many, many cases, he forgets to mention things to people, or he is constantly late. And that's also quite prominent, a prominent feature of consciousness number 7. They are true stars. So whenever they enter, because they are so magnetic and charismatic, you can always spot them. They may have a unique style. A lady with consciousness number 7, she would put a makeup to take the trash out, She would always look exceptionally well. You would always know when a 7 enters a room, because it's like a star is born, They have this kind of a je ne sais quoi, something special about them. And that is precisely what both of them, John and Carolyn, undoubtedly had. They were charismatic, they were magnetic. Because they want this recognition, they want to be in the center of attention. So we see how John is very comfortable with being around paparazzi, having his photos taken, and of course he had been on the covers of so many magazines. He was called the sexiest man alive. So that's something that's for him is like a fish swimming in the water. It was completely normal. Okay, so let's now briefly talk about the mission numbers. As I mentioned, in John's case, he's a double trouble. He not only has consciousness number 7, but also his mission number was also a 7. And mission 7 is the mission of yoga and crisis. The person feels an overwhelming drive towards self-assertion and self-confidence and acts on it before thinking. Again, they are geniuses. They could be, they usually quickly implement ideas. They don't wait around. But if they are over self-confident, it may lead to a lot of crisis. Mission number 7 transforms others through their actions. But very often, if they are in a negative mindset, that transformation can be extremely destructive and negative. And we can say that the tragedy that happened, because it was, of course, his responsibility. He was a pilot. He wasn't qualified enough to fly under those weather conditions. Plus, he had an injury, so he had his cast removed just the day before that. So those overconfident actions that he took on on that tragic day of July the 16th, 1999. Again, 16th, day 7, essentially, led to a lot of tragic transformation for 2 other human beings, for Carolyn, his wife, and his sister-in-law, Lauren Bessette. After 33, so once the mission gets fully activated, general consciousness, people with consciousness number 7, as I mentioned before, struggle with their memory. They may be forgetful. They may leave their house without really realizing where they will end up finding themselves in the evening. But for mission number 7, it's even more potent. So if you have a mission number 7 and you caught yourself forgetting a lot of things lately, this only means that you need to raise your Kundalini, you need to be disciplined, you need to pay attention to that brain fog is how your mission number manifests itself. Now, when it comes to mission number 3, The mission number 3 is considered the most effective mission in the system because it's all about cold analytical intelligence. They are born to manage, born to mentor, and always know how to get the results. The morality of that mission number is fair management. So usually there is no such thing as nepotism when it comes to people with mission number 3. If you want your friend with mission number 3 to hire your son, if your friend doesn't think that your son is the best candidate for the job and there is someone else, they won't be hiring your son irrespective of how close you are, because for them, nothing personal, is just business. So everything should be fair. When it comes to ladies with mission number 3, they are exceptionally good when it comes to managing their partners. And we can see how it manifests throughout the show, throughout the relationship between Carolyn and John. She pretty much managed him from day one. And there were a lot of calculated actions, even though in the TV series, it is shown as if she was not interested in him and he was pursuing her. But the truth is that it was quite calculated because she wanted to marry JFK Jr. from long before she even started working for Calvin Klein. So all of that was a very well-designed plan. And by the way, people both with consciousness number and mission number 3, they know how to build plans, how to build a business plan. They are quite analytical, so they can create fantastic models, fantastic, step-by-step guides. And because she had consciousness number 7, she was able to implement that plan, because many people with consciousness number 3, even though they are great at designing the plan, when it comes to implementation, they may fall a little bit behind, because for them, creating, designing a plan is already like, the job is done. But that's, of course, not how it works. The plan is just one of the steps. But in Carolyn's case, because she had this genius behind her in consciousness number 7, she was able not only to design the plan, but also implement it. And she played it very well and very smartly. And everyone with mission number 3, they see people through the prism of authority and lack of authority. So if they don't consider you having authority over them, they're not going to listen to you. And again, I will be showing you a few things displaying that quality. Okay, so to sum up, JFK Jr., both consciousness and mission 7. The energies of consciousness 7 and mission 7 are created to attract all attention to themselves. Double phoenix, so burning himself to the ashes only to be reborn again. And we see how he quit his job at the DA office and then started his magazine, and then the magazine was about to be go bankrupt. So he started thinking about his political career, and before, of course, he dreamt about becoming a movie star, and so on and so forth. So they reinvent themselves quite a few times throughout their life. Carolyn Bessette, consciousness number 7, mission number 3. Her soul craves recognition exactly like John's in consciousness 7, but her actions are driven by cold analysis, management, logic, and calculated benefit. For mission number 3, unless they see the value, unless they see the benefit, they are not going to lift their fingers. And again, women with mission number 3 will constantly manage their men, and we see this playing out throughout their relationship. That was the hidden engine in their relationship. So now that we are familiar with the theory, we know what consciousness number 7 and mission numbers 7 and 3 are. Let's dive in. Let's dissect various scenes to see how their numbers manifested. So this is a scene when they are about to take off, and John is pissed off with Carolyn for being late, and she immediately talks back, reminding him that he is the one usually who is always late.
What happened? Supposed to leave an hour ago.
It's a summer Friday. The tunnel was a parking lot.
Hi.
You haven't been on time a day in your life, but when it inconveniences you...
I'm just saying we're going to miss the welcome drinks.
All right, so the reason I picked up this scene, because it is so typical for someone with consciousness number 7. The way she says, oh, whenever it inconveniences you, you're always late, but whatever it inconveniences you, all of a sudden it's a problem. Because, again, it's a typical thing for people with consciousness number 7. They are super selfish, but without really realizing it, not because they are mean people. By the way, in numerical psychology, we don't divide people based on, bad or good, because all the numbers, they have their positive and negative manifestations, and it's up to us which ego we show, which ego we practice, whether we choose to be in the positive mindset or the negative mindset, right? But for number 7, they act selfishly without even realizing it. For example, one of my friends, also consciousness number 7, if we come to a restaurant and there is a group of us, that person will be picking the best seat for himself. If if he wants to have sunshine on his face, then he will be choosing that kind of a space. If he's too hot and he wants to sit in the shadow, that's what he will be picking, irrespective if there are ladies, if someone is pregnant, or maybe there are kids. Always thinking about themselves first, not because they're bad people, but because, again, 97% of their energy is located in the first chakra. If you're not familiar with the chakra system, the first chakra is in charge of our basic survival. If we take the Maslow pyramid, the hierarchy of needs as per Maslow, that's the basic, the first step in the hierarchy of needs. Our shelter, our food, our survival, of course, sex. By the way, that's why very often people with consciousness number 7 are sexually frustrated, even though they are the most sexual and all, but 97% of energy is located there. And if they are not letting themselves express sexually, there will be a lot of frustration. And very often they don't do it because, again, they are born yogis and they prefer the spiritual side of things. They kind of despise the material world, but they absolutely need to have both in their lives, especially, by the way, for mission number 7. The mission number 7 has this tendency, just like in JFK Jr.'s case, to fly away to be in the clouds, thinking about bigger things, about spirituality, but they absolutely have to have one foot in the spiritual world, and another foot has to be in the material world. There needs to be a balance, because if they just fly away and chase the spirituality, they will end up losing themselves. So yeah, they do it subconsciously, not because they want to do it in spite of you or to hurt you, but that's how they operate. If they are in the negative mindset and they don't bring their Kundalini energy up, then 97% of the energy is located there. Basic needs, they need to be covering their needs first, and only 3% gets to their head, to their mind. Let's continue. So this is an example how Carolyn thinks in her mission number 3, even though here in this scene, she was still 20-something, in her late 20s. So her mission hadn't been officially fully activated. She hadn't turned 33 years old. Nevertheless, the mission would still manifest itself throughout the entire life. So we can see how calculated she could be based on the advice that she gives to her friend.
Please tell me you didn't leave him a voicemail.
I didn't.
Grace. Why would he bother pursuing you if he knows he doesn't have to?
Exploit his insecurities. I read that somewhere.
Until when?
Until you're bored of him, or he's too old to leave you.
Prime example. Tanya tries too hard to be authoritative. Therefore, I have no respect for her authority.
Okay, so here we see how calculated she could be in mission number 3, because ladies with mission number 3, they could be quite ruthless. They are not about, particularly falling in love and going crazy. They do not lose their analysis and logic. They have their clear-mindedness when they need to. on the one hand. On the other hand, we can see how she doesn't respect her boss, hence she doesn't respect her authority. And again, this is a classic manifestation of mission number 3. And here they meet for the first time.
I really gotta go.
Oh, please take me with you.
I'm not sure that's such a good look.
Ducking out of a charity event or going home with you? You think I can get your number?
I don't give my number out to strangers.
How about I give you my number? That way the ball's in your court.
I don't want to get your hopes up.
And please, I'm not about begging in front of all of my closest friends.
You know where I work.
Again, in this scene, we see that she knows her worth because she is a star. So is he, of course, because both of them are 2-7. But she doesn't fall for that. She doesn't want to be one of so many other women, losing themselves when they see the sexiest man alive, as per one of the journals, one of the magazines, sorry. And she keeps her cool. She keeps him interested. Essentially, she knows exactly what she's doing because, again, with mission number 3, they are quite calculated with their actions. As a matter of fact, one of the theories, so I don't know what is true, what is not. I'm not here to prove anything to anyone. I am just sharing what kind of information I picked up outside of the TV show, right? So one of the theories is she actually wanted to marry him and she had a plan. And here is another scene between Carolyn and Michael Bergen, so her ex, her on and off boyfriend and model. By the way, that man is really, in my humble opinion, he was the sexiest man alive because he was so handsome. He still is. If you Google his photos, even though he's in his late 50s, he still looks absolutely amazing, really handsome man. So here we can see again how she, Carolyn, plays with Michael.
See, this is where I'm getting a little confused. When we're in public, you act like I don't exist, but then when we're alone, you're suddenly about it. So it's just...
Okay, Michael, this is exactly why I don't want a boyfriend. Okay, look, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. If you can't keep this cool and casual, I think we should just go back to being friends.
You're just gonna leave me here right now?
I guess that's kind of up to you.
Again, I love how cool she is. She's a star. She knows her worth. In the meantime, she knows what she's doing. She manipulates, the calculated actions. And of course, Michael Bergen being born on the 18th of March, so he has consciousness, because he's still with us. Consciousness number 9. He's of course all over her, and this dynamic between the 7 and the 9 could be again quite interesting chase between a mouse and a cat. By the way, I use my dating compatibility check, which is a free tool available on my website. So if you have a date tonight and you know their date of birth, even if it's just the day, you can type in your date of birth, their date of birth, and see the dynamic. The chatbot will briefly tell you who you are, who your date is, and what is the potential dynamic between you. So I use that compatibility check for 2 couples, for JFK Jr. versus Carolyn and Carolyn versus Michael Bergen. And here is what I got. So first, about JFK. You don't do surface level anything, not in conversation, not in connection, and definitely not in how you love. You're drawn to people who notice the quiet things, your effort, your depth, the way you hold yourself to standard most people don't even see. What drives you isn't the need for applause, it's the deep, almost silent question. Do they actually see me? And we know, based on the TV show, that John was mostly drawn to Carolyn because she was exceptional. She was truly seeing him for who he was, not just, President Kennedy's son, the prince of the US, but who he really was. And she wasn't, as per her actions, after him as that famous person. Now, about Carolyn. Also operates from the exact same inner world, serious, values-driven, and quietly measuring whether they're being taken seriously. They notice effort before they notice charm. Again, we see it over and over again in the TV show, how she wants him to show up, how she disregards talk is cheap. She wants actions, not just words, right? They're looking for someone who respects their depth without trying to simplify it, and they will disengage the moment they feel treated as ordinary. And by the way, that's exactly what happened in their relationship, right? Both of them, they felt disconnected. They withdrew inward and stopped communicating. And because they both felt as if the other person stopped seeing them, they basically ceased all communication. Your dynamic. So the dynamic between JFK and Carolyn, two people with consciousness number 7, as per my chatbot. Again, check it out if you need to understand what kind of a relationship you have with a certain person. I'll drop the link in the description. The dynamic, this is rare. Two people who genuinely understand what it means to crave recognition without ever wanting to ask for it. There is an unspoken language here, a mutual respect that can feel almost immediate. When two 7s meet, the connection can run remarkably deep, remarkably fast, because you both finally feel seen. One thing to watch, when both people are wanting to be recognized first, silence can start to feel like rejection, even when neither of you means it that way. I will not be unpacking or showing you any scenes of them fighting or going down that rabbit hole, because I really don't want this video to be depressing. It is already their love story, their relationship had already been as tragic as it gets, right? But it's pretty obvious which way it was going. And as you can see here, both of them, once they felt that another person stopped seeing them, they just retrieved into silent mode. Okay, so now Carolyn, consciousness number 7, and Michael Bergen, consciousness number 9, because he was born on the 18th. So Carolyn, you don't open up easily, and that's not a flaw, it's a filter. And we know it because Michael even brings it up in one of the scenes that, if you haven't been able to open up to JFK, then I don't feel so bad about you not opening up to me. You're drawn to people who notice what others miss, your effort, your depth, the quiet intensity behind what you do. When someone truly sees you, not just the surface, something in you softens and lets them closer. Now about Michael Bergen, consciousness number 9, born on the 18th. This person leads with action. They feel most alive when they are useful, protective, contributing something real. They are naturally drawn to people they sense they can support or stand beside. But what keeps them engaged long-term isn't need, it's watching someone grow. Gratitude and progress speak louder than words to them. The dynamic between consciousness number 7 and 9, so Carolyn and Michael Bergen, there is a natural magnetism here. Your depth pulls them in, and their instinct to protect makes you feel genuinely valued. They're one of the few types who will actually notice the effort you put into things without you having to point it out. That kind of recognition is rare for you, and it lands deeply. And again, because Carolyn realized that Michael Bergen could be a perfect model for Calvin Klein's underwear campaign, he was very grateful to her, because number 9, people born on the 9th, 18th, or 27th day of any month, gratitude is the most important currency for them. So not only they expect other people to be grateful, but of course they know how to be grateful towards others. One thing to watch when it comes to consciousness 7 versus consciousness 9, you both carry more than you show. And if neither of you names what you need, the silence could slowly become distance rather than closeness. Again, pretty much similar to 7 versus 7 here. A couple of more scenes.
Carolyn! Carolyn, wait! Please.
You didn't think maybe call the restaurant? I was waiting for 20 minutes.
No, I'm sorry.
In your defense, I'm sure most of your dates swoon over that India story.
I wasn't trying to impress you.
No, you made that very clear when you showed up 30 minutes late.
What would you be doing?
Am I going to be leading the conversation at any point?
I'm not the one being vetted here.
Somebody stole my bike.
What, was it locked?
No.
How many bikes have you lost?
Ballpark?
All right, here we see that she's sassy. Again, that's one of the qualities of people with consciousness number 7. They can be sassy, witty, they know how to charm or how to be, they have a sharp tongue. And also we see that she knows her value. She really didn't appreciate him being late. And in the meantime, he being in chaos of consciousness number 7, he didn't think about just picking up the phone and calling the restaurant to warn her, because obviously back in the day, there were no cell phones for those of you who are too young to understand what was going on in the 90s. And we see how she leads the conversation here, how she sees him and he really appreciates it. And then, of course, his chaos when it comes to not locking his bikes and constantly losing them, or just his bikes being stolen. Again, chaos of someone in with consciousness number 7 being in a negative mindset, right? And another example of someone with consciousness number 7 being in a complete chaos is, of course, when Hank, Daryl Hannah's dog, breaks away and just got hit by the car when John was walking him. Again, a lot of chaos there, bringing chaos to himself, to people around him. Let's go to the next episode.
I just wish I could explain to you how even the simplest things can become so complicated for me. How badly I wish I was someone else when I met you.
It is what it is.
Okay, so here is another example of John being in chaos. He doesn't know how to sort out his relationship with Daryl Hannah, even though they've been on and off for quite some time. And he's not sure what he's going to do with his job, whether he's going to leave the DA office or whether he's going to kickstart his new venture, his George magazine. So a lot of chaos, and he brings it up like even the smallest things, the simplest things could be so complicated for me. They don't have to be complicated if you are not in this chaotic state, if you are not in the negative mindset. But again, because 97% of their energy, people with consciousness number 7, and in John's case, he also had mission number 7, because 97% is located at the base of the spine in the first chakra, and only 3% gets to the head, to the mind, there is no clear mindedness. So a lot of chaos. Another example of chaotic behavior, of being forgetful, of being irresponsible in a sense, creating chaos for himself and for others, is of course the way he takes Carolyn to his sister Caroline's birthday and failed to announce it both to Caroline that he is bringing someone so she can make all the arrangements and to prepare herself for meeting her brother's new girlfriend. And of course, he fails to mention to Carolyn that not only it's a seated dinner, but it's also Caroline's birthday. And guys, to be honest with you, if I was put in such a terrible, awkward position, and God knows when I watched this episode, I felt I've gone through so much of secondhand embarrassment, because if I was put in such a terrible, awkward, embarrassing position, someone brought me and I wasn't expected, I wasn't invited, I would have been furious, honestly. That's just reckless behavior, and that is a perfect manifestation of selfishness in chaotic consciousness number 7. When someone born on the 7th, 16th, or 25th in a negative mindset, super selfishness, this is how it manifests itself. They don't do it because they are mean people. They don't want to hurt anyone. They do it because there is lack of, understanding of the basics, understanding what behavior is acceptable and what behavior is not acceptable.
My sister's throwing a party. You should come.
Just a party.
Wouldn't that be a little soon?
Yeah, but I want you to meet her.
What can I bring? Bottle of wine, flowers?
No, they've always got everything covered. I'm just happy to bring you.
This is a dinner.
Yeah, sort of, I guess.
I thought this was a party.
This is a party.
Who cares that it's her birthday, right?
I'll be right back. Hey, Anthony.
Leaving her there alone, right? Typical behavior for someone with a 7-7.
I'm so sorry. John failed to mention I was crashing a sit-down dinner.
Oh, it's fine, please. He does that kind of thing all the time. I just mean that he's forgetful, not that he's bringing women unannounced.
He also didn't mention it's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh man, that was embarrassing. Seriously, every time I watch this thing, and this is like the third time or the fourth time, because obviously I had to go through each episode to cut these pieces, guys, for you to illustrate. But yeah, I mean, please, for the love of God, even if you were born with consciousness number 7 or mission number 7, please do not do things like this. And there is a second part when John and Carolyn discuss this situation.
You didn't bother to tell me you were bringing her, so allow me to catch up.
All right, well, that's not her fault.
I mean, she understands she wasn't expected here tonight. Why would you put her in that position?
I really didn't think you would mind.
You say you're feeling older? Wonderful. Act like it.
I'm really starting to feel like she's my person.
Then act like she's your person.
And the last bit, when post-birthday, John meets his cousin and closest friend, Anthony. And of course, we realize that this is something he does all the time. Typical 7, guys. Typical 7.
Not sure I did. I didn't exactly tell Caroline I was bringing someone.
Oh, dude.
And forgot to mention to Carolyn that it was Caroline's birthday. Or that it was a dinner.
My God. But, well, I guess you were just being you. I love you, buddy, but that is kind of classic you shit.
I just don't want to blow it, you know?
Yeah. I don't know, so maybe don't?
This dynamics was probably one of my favorite, to be honest with you, in the show, between these two friends slash cousins. Okay, and I want to wrap up with, obviously we now know how a person with a double trouble, 7-7, but also consciousness number 7 in a negative mindset would act. But I want to wrap up with Carolyn's geniusness in 7 and also the way she approached things in mission number 3. Of course, we've covered the way she would give a piece of advice to her friend and the way she treated both Michael Bergen and the way she called the shots in their relationship, in her relationship with John. But I want to wrap it up with these two scenes. The first one is how she chooses Kate Moss as the female model for Calvin Klein's underwear campaign.
What about Kate Moss?
Well, she's cute, but no one knows who she is.
Exactly. She's almost unknowable. She's guarded, elusive. She's not trying to sell you anything or hamming up for the camera. She's just letting you in. Just enough, because she knows better than to give it all away.
Okay, so why this scene is important, why I wanted to show it to you, for 2 reasons. First of all, to show, of course, the brilliance, the genius behind Carolyn. And in her 7, she knew what she was doing. She was a fantastic crisis manager as well, as I think she used to work in PR, and PR could be very messy, as we know, especially in business such fashion. But I also wanted to show it to you because she gives this description of Kate Moss, which pretty much coincides with the description that the compatibility check, the dating compatibility check that I read to you guys a few minutes before gives on consciousness number 7. You don't open up easily, and that's not a flaw, it's a filter. And guess what, guys? When I was going through this TV show episode by episode, and I heard that, I was like, wait a minute, let me check Kate Moss's date of birth. And you will never believe it, but Kate Moss was born on the 16th of January. So she is also a 7, just like Carolyn and John. So it's a fun fact. It's uncanny coincidence. Nevertheless, it's there. And here comes the last scene that I want to show it to you, again, for 2 reasons, and you will understand why. Just pay attention.
Well, she is the first woman I've dated who doesn't want to be seen with me in public, so.
Not counting Madonna.
Seriously, she's different, you guys. Okay.
I don't know if you've noticed, they mentioned Madonna. So when John says, oh, she's the only woman who doesn't want to be seen with me in public, and Anthony remarks, yeah, except Madonna. Now guess what Madonna's consciousness number is. You've guessed it. Madonna was born on the 16th of August. So yes, guys, Madonna also has consciousness number 7.
Hi. Sorry,
Hey,
I'm
hi.
late. It was a
Hi.
work thing. Just went on and on. Hi.
Carolyn, nice lighter. Blue eyes.
Gift from an ex.
Oh. Hey, do you know Trey from Tunnel?
Trey? Nope. Why? Is he a friend of yours? From what I've heard, I hope not.
This may as well be one of my favorite scenes in the entire show because, again, she's a true star. The way she entered, all eyes were on her because she was late. Now, where are those calculated actions? We don't know. Maybe she was indeed late due to some work thing. But the way she carries herself, then the way she's sassy with all the friends, immediate wit, because that's what people with consciousness number 7 do. They are sassy, quick implementation, they are true geniuses. So she immediately knew how to read the room and how to present herself, as being one of their buddies, being funny, a true star quality, charming and magnetic, right?
You guys, I gotta go.
No, stay for dinner.
You said drinks, so I made dinner plans.
We have more questions. Cancel.
But you guys, this was so fun. After hearing so much about you, no matter what John says, I think you guys are great. Bye. The next one, when we have more time.
Damn. Always leave them wanting more.
This one knows how to play the game.
And then the way she calculated, she said, oh, listen, you only said drinks, so I'm here for drinks. I have other plans. Even though you're JFK Jr. and here are your best friends, half of them are princes or, super rich people and stuff. But I have other plans because I value myself. I have a life of my own. And even the way she said, it was a work thing, right? So she's successful. She has a life of her own. And all of you guys, including JFK Jr., even though he's the Prince of America, that's just, a footnote in my life because I know who I am and what I do. And that may have been true, and probably it was true, but the way she presented herself, the way she carried herself was really special to see. And the way one of his friends notices at the end, this one knows how to play the game. And I agree, guys, because again, people, especially women with mission number 3, they know how to play the game in terms of analysis, logic, calculated actions. And I'm not saying it in a judgmental way, not at all. It's a beautiful quality to have, especially in this day and age. It is what it is. Another 2 interesting examples I would like to bring to your attention to illustrate how mission number 3, being the most efficient mission, operates is number 1, when Carolyn decides to propose the role of her maid of honor to her future sister-in-law, Caroline Kennedy, instead of picking one of her own sisters for that role. And number 2, how she chose one of the junior designers at Calvin Klein to design her wedding dress instead of going to Calvin, which was probably expected of her. So here we see that when it comes to mission 3, there is no such thing as nepotism, loyalty, maybe even gratitude, because mission 3 will decide what actions to take based on the most efficient route under any given circumstances. All right, you guys, thank you so much for your attention. That's it from me for today. Please let me know what you think. If you like this format, if you would like me to do more of this stuff in the future, if there are other scenes in the TV series that caught your attention and you would want me to dissect those scenes through the prism of numerical psychology, let me know. Drop them in the comments below. In the meantime, I will leave in the description the link to my free The Dating Compatibility check if you want to dive deeper and understand how to date anyone based on their day of birth, their consciousness number, what ticks them, how to keep them, how to win them, what are the red and green flags, the keywords, the do's and don'ts on the first date. You can also explore my dating guide. It's pretty much a small course on numerical psychology itself based on the consciousness number. So you're welcome if you want to explore it further. And of course, if you want to book a private session, feel free to check it out on my website, along with lots of other workshops. Thank you so much for being with me today. Until the next time. Bye-bye.